everyone, welcome to my kitchen. So today's video is sort of a special request, I guess I can call it that. I put up a picture of the apple cake I made on Instagram and Lulu asked me to make a video of it. So here is for Lulu. So because we're making a cake, as you can see, it's actually quite a lot of stuff and there's a lot of preparation that's been done. Baking is not as happy-go-lucky or as simple or figure it out as you go as cooking is. So baking is more of a science, so it makes it easier if you prep your stuff beforehand and make sure that everything is available for you to just get into it. So that is why I have everything laid out here. Most of the stuff I have it laid out because the stuff I don't like to do. For example, I'm using a bundt cake pan, and I really don't like the whole admin of putting in the butter and the flour, so I've had someone else do that. And just to give you a little heads up, you might hear a little voice in the background. I do have an audience today because I'm supposed to be a homeschool teacher, but now I'm also baking. So let's get started with the cake, shall we? So first of all, I'm going to start off with the flour. So I've got 3 cups of flour. I'm not going to say all the quantities in case I forget. Just look at the ingredients down in the description box. So what I've done is I have sifted the flour. If you have enough patience and time, sift it, I think, about 3 times. That way you are definitely sure that you have no grains or no tightness in your flour at all. There I've just put in some baking soda, put in some salt, basically trying to get all the dry ingredients together. That is cinnamon. It's quite a bit, but it's an apple cake, so you want the flavor to be prominent. Lovely Christmassy smell. And that was nutmeg. So as you can see, the nutmeg is much less because it has a much more pungent taste. You want the presence, but you don't really want it to taste all the way like Christmas cake. Okay, so just put that away. So the reason I'm sifting my flour is because whenever you're making cake, right, you want to make sure that your flour doesn't have any grainy parts or any parts that are stuck together, because what that is going to do is it's actually going to make it more difficult for you when you try and put together the dry ingredients and the wet ingredients. And that's normally where we fall into the trap of overmixing, because you're trying to make it smooth, and when you overmix, I know you've had this experience before, you're going to have a hard cake. I mean, I was having a conversation with my daughter yesterday about how we actually mix muffin mix. You know the muffin mix you buy in the shop? You mix it so much and by the time you get the muffin, it's like, oh. Yeah, so you don't want to do that. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that separately, aside from each other, the ingredients that you're going to put together are not going to require you to mix for long and then maybe overmix in the process. So we've got the flour thing going on there, and now I'm going to put together the egg, sugar, and oil mix. If you are new to this channel, you won't know this, but if you're not, you'll know I do not like breaking eggs on camera because I don't think I know how to. That's why I'm hiding it. So that's the eggs in there. And then I've got some brown sugar that I'm putting in. I'm putting white sugar. And then I've got some vanilla essence. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this up a little bit before I actually come in with the oil. If you've got a stand mixer, a hand mixer, use that. It makes your life so much easier. But basically all we're trying to do is to mix the egg and sugar to get a little bit of a creamy consistency. and then we will put in the oil. So I'm going to sieve my flour again into the other mixture. Maybe use your right hand to sieve your flour. You're much smarter than I am. I'm going to put in half the mixture, and then I'm going to put in the oil. And I'm going to mix that together. The reason I'm staggering it is because I'm just trying to push the limits. As my camera person just said, just trying to push the limits of this bowl. So before we have all this cake on the floor, I'm just going to get it under control. Okay, should be fine. That's what laziness looks like. But it tastes good, so don't worry. Okay, so there we are. Going to fold that all in. So we're not worried or too worried about bubbles and stuff like that, because we are still going to put in some apples, and we are also still going to put in some nuts. So I just want the mixture to be fully mixed to a point where the liquids and the flours are completely one wonderful gloopy mix, and then I'm going to put the rest of the ingredients. Nice. Okay, in here I have some apples. So I've got apples that I have peeled, cored, and then sliced. So I did this before I started the video. So to keep them from browning, what I actually did is I just put a little bit of lemon juice inside, and then I put water. Lemon juice in the bowl, and then I put water, and then I put the apples in that water. So that sort of helps you to stop them losing their color. So I'm just going to drain out the water, and then I'll be back. So you can see the bowl is actually very full, but I've managed to keep it all in there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be pouring in the mix in the pan. If you can, try and get as much of the same amount around the bundt cake pan as you can. If you are using another type of pan, that will be easier to handle. But with the bundt cake, I really want to say I just go with what I'm feeling in terms of how much on which side, but it actually also does work if you just eyeball it. So basically you want to see or just use a certain level. Just decide the first line, that's where I want to go, and just have your whole mixture everywhere on the first line. But what normally happens is you see that because the bundt cake gets baked this way up, you normally see that most of the cakes get a little bit of a dome on the top, but that's not really a problem because when we present the cake, we put it upside down. So it's not really a big issue. But just so that it's neat and tidy and the same size on every side and that you don't have other drama, just try and get it all level. So from here, we are going to put it into the oven to make sure that the cake is fully cooked, and then I will show you the final product. So when I bring the cake out, it will also have glazing on it. What I'll do is I'll put the recipe for the glazing below in the description box, but I won't be putting it on the video. So, but it's very easy to put together, so you'll get it. So when you see the cake, it will be fully baked, it will be lovely and brown and soft, and will already have a glazing on it. So let's just go to the oven now.
Where's my jellyfish, Mama?
On the other side.
Where?
Okay, baby, you need to go and find it.
You know where's my seahorse?
Your seahorse is in your hand.
I'm not sure.
Isn't that fine?
Here's my seahorse.
And guys, this is the finished product. So I'm going to cut a piece so you can just see what it looks like on the inside. So I really would have loved to show you how tense it was when I was trying to take it out of the pan. But if you've got a bundt pan, you know all about it. If you don't, keep it that way. Use the other pans. It's much easier for your stress levels. Anyway, I'm just going to cut a piece out so you can see what the cake looks like. So the outside of the cake is nice and crunchy because of all that sugar, right, that we put in there. But the inside of the cake is really going to surprise you because it's nice and moist. Of course, it's got fresh fruit in there, so it's got that almost gooiness as it rips open. So this is what I want you to see. So the outside of the cake is actually quite crispy, all that sugar that we put in. But the inside, as you can see, it's got a cakey consistency, right? But more like a pudding feel. You've got all that nuts in there and all that apple. It really does make it lovely and soft. We've got the icing on there, but if you want to cheat a little bit, you can actually drip a bit more if you've got. I'm not going to be able to do that because the person taking the video for me doesn't want me to finish the syrup. So yeah, if you do it, then you will have a bit more leeway. Thank you very much for coming into my kitchen today. Remember to like the video, to leave a comment, and to subscribe. Until next time, bye-bye.